Hey there, guys. So I wanted to tell you guys a little story about a spiritual attack that came on my youngest daughter. But first, I want to tell you about a little bit about some promises that God gave me in regards to my future, my family's future, myself and my wife, Claire. The Lord kind of spoke to me as I was on a spiritual journey. He really spoke to me in vision and dreams about things that we were going to be doing in the future, people we're going to be reaching, and the nations that we'll be speaking to in that time. And then along came Mercy, who is our youngest daughter right now. On the day that Mercy was born, we were in the hospital room. I was sleeping on the little sofa couch thing that they have there. My wife was sleeping in her bed, and Mercy had her little bassinet thing with the light over it and everything. So as I was sleeping, I saw come down from the ceiling. It was a cloud. I can best describe it as a cloud. It looked a little bit like, if you've seen pictures of the Northern Lights or anything like that. I haven't seen it in person, maybe have. It looked a little something like that, but it was pure evil. And that's the best I can describe it. And it was coming down from the ceiling directly toward Mercy, my youngest daughter. I woke up immediately. I started praying, rebuking the evil spirit. Yes, it was just a dream, but it really felt a little something different. We have to realize that the enemy is after our children. You really have to believe this if you're going to fight this war. We are in a spiritual battle. We don't fight against flesh and blood. We are fighting against principalities, powers, and dominions over this world. We're in a spiritual battle. And I know this story may seem a little crazy for some of you, but it's real. There is a real enemy out there trying to attack us. And what God spoke to me was, he's really after our children. He's after your children. He's after my children. And our children are our legacy. This enemy is so after our children. In Revelations 12:17, it tells us about the dragon went to make war with her offspring. Now it's talking about the church, and we are the offspring of the church. But it really is the way that dragon, the devil, the enemy works. He's after our children. He goes to make war with the children because he can't make war with you. If you're following Christ and you're in your word and you're praying every day, he can't touch you. But he can reach your children if you're not going to war with him and praying over your children, and you're not taking the fight to him. If you're not doing that, then you're not protecting your children. He can't touch you anymore, but he can get after your children. You must go to war for your children who are your legacy. And the thing that God was speaking to me when this vision came to me, when that dream came to me, it actually happened again about a week or so later, almost identical, a little bit different, but almost identical thing happened. Where I saw the spirit coming after Mercy, my youngest. He's so after our children. What the Lord started telling me in that time was that those visions, those dreams that I was having, those visions for my future, for our future as a family, those are not only mine. Those are my children as well. So those visions, it doesn't mean that I will personally be speaking to thousands and over nations and things like that. I believe God has that in my future. But if he doesn't, it's still my legacy, it's still my family. He gives people, just like Abraham. He told Abraham he was going to be the father of many sons and many nations. Those were not his children, those were his grandchildren, his great-great-grandchildren, everything that's spread out through the world. This is not only about here and now and you and me. It's about our children. We have to focus our energy on raising our children to love the Lord and to be just to be strong people of God. It's so important. It's way more important than trying to go out there and evangelize, trying to preach to hundreds of people. It's so much more important that you focus on your children. I'm brought to the verse in Matthew 6:19-20, where it talks about lay for yourselves treasures in heaven. Don't store up treasures here on earth where moths destroy and vermin eat it up, paraphrase. But lay up for yourselves treasure in heaven. Where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. Now, I know a lot of you've heard it before in a preaching where that's used to talk about money. Where you put your money, that's where your heart is. But no, your treasure is not your money. If your treasure is your money, you're off base. Sorry. Your treasure is not your money. Your treasure is in heaven. Now, your treasure here on earth is your family, your legacy. That's who you have to make sure that you're investing in, so that you will store that treasure for yourself in heaven. Now, I know this is really good if you're understanding what I'm saying. Your treasure, your children, have to be stored up for yourself in heaven. Now, I want to go back to the war that the enemy, that's why the enemy is so focused on your children. Just because you're a godly person doesn't mean your children are going to be saved. You have to understand that, and you have to pour out everything in you to your children. Think about these great men in the Bible who did not impart to their children. They were more focused on the people rather than their children. One of them is Eli, that great prophet of God, who his sons went and did things that were wicked in the sight of the Lord. And then, so God brought to him Samuel, who he was able to raise up in the right way. But Samuel was not his actual son. Another example would be Aaron, Moses' brother, whose sons also turned from the Lord. There's multiple examples of this, but when you go back into the Old Testament especially, you see a lot of stories where people are very concerned about their legacy, their children. Look at Saul. Whenever Saul disobeyed the Lord, Samuel told him that your kingdom is going to end now. It didn't end that day. He even reigned for many years afterwards. But at that point, God went out and appointed David. He found David, that David was going to be raised up to take his place, not Saul's sons and children. And that's what he meant with your kingdom would have went on for a long time. I don't know if he said forever, but he said your kingdom would have gone on for generations in your name. But now the Lord has taken that from you because you disobeyed the Lord. So our future generations, the devil is at war with your children. He wants to take away your legacy, which is your children. And I just wanted to impart that to you guys. Now, if you're a little older and you're thinking you kind of maybe feel like you failed or something like that, it's not over. You can still reach out to your children rather than just only focusing and pouring yourself all into the church at this point. You can reach out to your children and dedicate the rest of your life to figuring out how to reach them and to impart unto them and continue that legacy and store up those treasures for yourself in heaven. So with that, I would love to hear your guys' comments. So go ahead and comment, just like this video, subscribe to my channel, that would be awesome, and I will talk to you guys soon. All right, love you.